Welcome to another episode of On the Board with Kevin Stevens. Today I have Mr. Bruce Woody, Director of ECUA, to help me answer some questions I've been getting by multiple constituents and residents of Escambia County in reference to 4 state senators sending a letter to the Office of Public Counsel. The Public Counsel, in turn, asked ECUA a few questions as it relates to public utilities and then any recommendations. Those questions are, does the ECUA follow generally accepted accounting principles, also known as GAAP? 2, does the ECUA replace its water meters at a higher rate than other utilities? And 3, how do ECUA water rates compare to Peoples Water, who uses a conservation rate? These and several other questions we're going to get to the bottom of and hopefully clear up any misunderstandings and hopefully phone calls that I've gotten from ratepayers and give them a little bit more clarity. Stay tuned. I'm Kevin Stevens, a native Pensacolian, husband, father, and U.S. Navy veteran. But that's not what this is about. I'm a local businessman who has owned many successful companies over the years. But it's not about this either. Recently, I ran for public office and was elected to a seat on the ECUA Board of Commissioners. So what's this about? It's about an elected official who will serve his community and hold his fellow elected officials accountable, all while making local government more transparent. Join me in making Pensacola a better place to live, work, and play. Welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So today I've got Mr. Bruce Woody. Bruce, thanks for coming back on the show again.
Yeah, I appreciate the invitation.
And I appreciate you answering some of these questions because you're probably going to do a lot better job than I am on responding to some of these in a lot more clarity. We're talking about, of course, the letter that ECUA was sent by the Public Counsel to answer a few questions that a lot of ratepayers and a lot of residents in Escambia County had about basically how we manage our finances, our accounting, and then are we being good stewards of the ratepayers' money? To my response would be, I have absolutely, but give me a little bit more clarity. So one of the questions that we were asked, as you know, was does the ECUA follow generally accepted accounting principles, GAAP, for example?
We are a public entity rather than a private entity. I will say, for starters, the Office of Public Counsel is a governor-appointed legal counsel that oversees private investor-owned utilities. That would be like Gulf Power and others who are operating a monopoly for a profit. Their purpose is to be sure that they're charging fair and equitable rates, and they have to go through a process to prove up that their rate changes are necessary and appropriate. Conversely, there are many publicly owned utilities across the state. ECUA is one of those. Publicly owned utilities are usually either owned by a municipality or an elected board. In this particular case, there's a 5-member elected board that oversees the ECUA, and they're the ones that actually set the rates. The governance policy there is that those elected officials are directly available to the ratepayer and answered directly that way. So there's direct accountability. To your question about GAAP accounting principles, not only do we have to follow GAAP in the reporting that we do, we also are overseen by GASB, Government Accounting Standards Board, for public entities. And depending on whether we're reporting on our CIP budget or our operating budget, there's different standards to follow. So we follow both of those. And I would like to emphasize that also our organization for 32 years straight has received the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting from the Government Finance Officers Association.
I know, and I was actually present several months ago when we actually received that award. So, I mean, bottom line is T's are crossed, I's are dotted. Our budgets are down to just about to the penny, and that's not too far off, actually.
On an annual basis, we have an outside third-party CPA who audits our books, and we received a clean audit opinion each of those last 32 years.
Yep, I actually remember the meeting because again, and that just keeps, as they say, everybody honest. You get a third party outside accounting firm that looks at our books, audits them, goes through them with a fine-tooth comb, makes any recommendations, looks for any type of discrepancies, things of that nature. Of course, as always, ECUA got a clean bill of health.
It serves several purposes. Not only does it provide a check and balances between the elected board and the administration, that the finances are in order, it also provides the reporting that we need to provide to federal and state agencies who provide grant monies to the ECUA for some of our capital projects.
Great. Well, thank you for that. I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit more right after we get back from this short commercial break.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
Hi, I'm Sean McCorkle with Genesis Land and Title. What makes a great title company? Forbes magazine says that a good title company does two things well. They coordinate the transaction efficiently and they provide remarkable customer service. You know, there are few things worse than poor customer service when you are spending your hard-earned money. Our professional and friendly team will go above and beyond to ensure that your closing experience is as pleasant and stress-free as possible.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
ING Global provides intense real-world combat training for individuals and teams. Our firearms training includes concealed carry, pistol, rifle, and advanced weapons and tactics. Our medical training involves evidence-based life-saving techniques, and our close protection services provide safe, controlled, monitored movement for personnel and executives. We're the only tactile pistol and carbine training facility in the Panhandle. Get the best at 850-380-1085.
Welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So where you left off, Bruce, we were just talking about that real fun stuff, financials and accounting, and like I said, you know, probably not the most exciting topics, but very necessary, because what this basically does is it goes over line by line in our budget, you know, how we're managing the ratepayers' money. And you know, as a side note, I would like to you know, let the viewers know, all of this information is available on our website, and I highly encourage each and every ratepayer to go online, look at our budget, look at last year's budget, this year's budget, how they compare, what's changed, what's modified, and send me those questions. You know, email me, phone, give me a call. I'd love to answer those questions. So,
if they're interested in just the budget, each of the successive years' budgets are available online. If you are an accounting type person and you want to review our comprehensive annual financial report, which is the outside third-party audit, all of those are also available online.
So if you're ever having trouble sleeping, go online and pull up the very detailed report. I've read it, and it's pretty lengthy, but it's detailed, and it just goes along the lines of being accountable and transparent to the public. So thank you for that. You know, next question: does the ECUA replace its water meters at a higher rate than other utilities? And interesting enough, this is in fact, this is something we voted on. I believe at the last meeting was actually replacing those meters and upgrading those meters. So this is actually a very timely episode. As I said, this is something we just voted on. So if you could elaborate a little bit more on are we replacing them at a higher rate? And then maybe a little bit more detail about the meters themselves and some of the warranties associated with those.
Yeah, we're talking about water meters, and more specifically really those that are in the 5/8 of an inch to 1 inch size, which are the predominant sizes for our residential users. We have 127,000 meters out in the system. 127,000, that's a tremendous number. And about 8 or 9 years ago, we went through a process to upgrade from the old style meter that you actually had to open the meter pit and read manually to what's called automated meter reading. So the new meters had a little head on the top that automatically recorded information, and then we could just drive down the street and electronically pick up signals
Right.
from the meters and do that. That made it a lot more efficient, saves the ratepayers money in that regard. Those are getting now toward the end of their warranty, and some of them are starting to fail, as you might expect. So between what we spend on new meters for new construction, we're a very growing community, between that and replacing old meters that have failed, we spend about $2 million a year replacing meters. So while that
And that's
seems,
just the cost of doing business. I mean,
Yes.
that's what I call standard operating procedure.
right. So we don't replace a meter until it actually has failed. We do buy a certain inventory of them up front so that when we have a meter that has failed, we can replace it
We can replace
immediately. If it's still under warranty, that meter is sent back to the manufacturer, and if it's less than 10 years old, we get a full replacement. If it's more than 10, we get a prorated
Okay,
replacement.
and that's the deal. And that's a very important because I'd get questions and phone calls, and again, a lot of these questions are as a result of phone calls, emails I'm getting from my constituents. Is do you guys just arbitrarily replace meters? And I explain to them, no, we do not. It's not like, hey, it's been here 5 years. At the end of that warranty,
It ain't broke, don't fix it.
amen. You know, at the end of that warranty and the lifespan, then and only then do we replace them.
We have some that have exceeded their warranty, and they're still working. There's no reason to replace those either.
So we just keep them
We
going.
replace them
again.
only when they fail.
As when they need it. Okay. Thank you so much. So we come back. We've got a few more questions for you. So I appreciate your patience, Mr. Woody. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
Extreme Fleet Maintenance is a complete hydraulic and diesel servicing company for the Gulf Coast region, specializing in Ford Power Stroke, Dodge Cummins, Chevy Duramax, and all diesel. We work on light and heavy-duty vehicles, forklifts, hydraulics, generators, warehouse, and farm equipment. Our emergency services are 24/7. When you need us, we are there. Call us at 850-972-8087.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
YNG Global provides intense real-world combat training for individuals and teams. Our firearms training includes concealed carry, pistol, rifle, and advanced weapons and tactics. Our medical training involves evidence-based life-saving techniques, and our close protection services provide safe, controlled, monitored movement for personnel and executives. We're the only tactile pistol and carbine training facility in the Panhandle. Get the best at 850-380-1085.
Hi, I'm Sean McCorkle with Genesis Land and Title. What makes a great title company? Forbes magazine says that a good title company does 2 things well. They coordinate the transaction efficiently, and they provide remarkable customer service. You know, there are few things worse than poor customer service when you are spending your hard-earned money. Our professional and friendly team will go above and beyond to ensure that your closing experience is as pleasant and stress-free as possible.
Welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So, you know, and here's probably the burning question, Bruce, is how do ECUA water rates compare to Peoples Water? And they, of course, use a conservation rate. You know, this is a question that I've 50 to 70 calls I got. I think the News Journal had released an article, if I'm not mistaken, and it kind of inferred or implied that you know, the ECUA had some of the highest rates. When in fact we're in the middle in most cases and probably lower in quite a few cases. But the comparison was with Peoples Water. And so again, I know they say the devil's in the detail, and I used to have one of my favorite college professors would say there's 3 kinds of lies: lies, damn lies, and statistics. So it's all in how you manipulate the numbers. But I would like you to speak on a little bit about ECUA, contention that our rates are higher than possibly some other utilities?
First, one little background statement. We have a flat rate. It's $2.67, regardless of the volume that's consumed. And that's because we have access to the sand and gravel aquifer that has exceptional quickly recharges, and so we don't have the same kind of conservation problems that the rest of the state has, which is why the Office of Public Counsel asked about that. That's what they're used to dealing with, is the whole rest of the state.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people, and to not spend a lot of time on that, understand how blessed we are with our aquifer and the sandy soil and so forth, and the actual cleanliness of our water.
Yeah, we don't use more than 10 or 15% of the available water supply, while the rest of it just flows out to the ocean if it isn't conserved. People's water does have a conservation rate like the other parts of the state do. And a conservation rate essentially is a financial disincentive to use large volumes. So instead of having a flat rate of $2.67, you get a break if you're a very low consumer, 0 to 3,000 gallons, you only pay $1.57. But if you use 3,000 to 6,000, your rate instead of $2.67 with ECUA is $4.69.
It's actually more.
If it's over 6,000, it's $7, and if it's over 12,000, it's $9. So very quickly penalizes somebody for a lot of use. I think
especially in summertime and springtime, when people are watering their lawns and whatnot, that could go up
I think
quickly.
the best comparison is to look at the average consumption rate. Our average residential consumer uses 6,438 gallons per month. And at that consumption rate, ECUA residential user would pay $30.21, and Peoples would pay $29.99. That's 22 cents difference per month.
22 cents.
Based on the average. If you're to use 10,000, People's jumps up to 55, and ours is only at $39.72. That's a $15 difference.
Right. So they're actually $15 more at that rate.
Right. Now, to be fair, if it goes the other opposite direction, there could be a separation as well. If you're only using 3,000 gallons, maybe you're a single person at home, then the differences are 21 and 12, which is about an $8 difference. But for those folks who are low users, particularly if you're a low-income senior,
right.
We offer a senior rate that Peoples does not even offer.
And I'd like to get into that a little bit. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that, because I'd like to get into that as well as something that a lot of folks don't understand the ECUA does, that Peoples, for example, doesn't do, and a lot of other don't do, is offer that rate for seniors. So I'd like to explain that a little bit more to the residents of Escambia County. Right after this short commercial break, we'll be right back.
Extreme Fleet Maintenance is a complete hydraulic and diesel servicing company for the Gulf Coast region, specializing in Ford Power Stroke, Dodge Cummins, Chevy Duramax, and all diesel. We work on light and heavy-duty vehicles, forklifts, hydraulics, generators, warehouse, and farm equipment. Our emergency services are 24/7. When you need us, we are there. Call us at 850-972-8087.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
YNG Global provides intense real-world combat training for individuals and teams. Our firearms training includes concealed carry, pistol, rifle, and advanced weapons and tactics. Our medical training involves evidence-based life-saving techniques, and our close protection services provide safe, controlled, monitored movement for personnel and executives. We're the only tactile pistol and carbine training facility in the Panhandle. Get the best at 850-380-1085.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
Welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So when we were wrapping up, Bruce, we were just talking about our rates, water rates, as they relate to in this particular conversation, people's water. So obviously we've talked about if you're using apples to apples comparison, 6,000. There are cases we may be 22 cents higher, but as the consumption goes up by the end user, it goes from us being at times 22 cents higher to actually lower. Then again, so it's all maybe a lower water usage by a client, maybe cents less. But when you get folks that are using more water, that's typically going to be in your springtime and summer when you're watering your grass. As that consumption goes up closer to the 10,000 gallons, then they actually are $10 to $12 higher than us on average. But something that we have that, again, we just touched on right before the break was a special program that ECOA has that People's Water doesn't have, which is our special rate for seniors, the Lifeline rate. So if you explain that a little bit, please.
Yeah, for our customers who are seniors and are low income, there are certain federally established low income rates, and we follow those guidelines. We offer considerable concessions on our rates. If your consumption is anywhere from 0 up to 6,000 gallons, which is almost our average that we have for all our residences, your rate is only $11.21.
$11.21.
That's total. That's your basic rate, your volume rate, everything. And it doesn't go up very fast after that. The example I just gave with the average consumption of 6,438, that would just bump it to $12.38. Even if it was 10,000 gallons, very unlikely for a senior household, but even then it'd only be $21.63 when our other customers would be paying $39.72. Or if you were people.
But again, these are seniors. This is fixed income. This is low income individuals that need a little bit of help. And we're happy to help them. And like I said, so that's great. And I feel good about that. I feel good that, like I said, that we're able to help the less fortunate and especially our seniors.
Popular program.
Amen. So just in conclusion, again, ECOA follows generally accepted accounting practices. We're audited by third parties to make sure that we're doing everything the right way. Any questions, comments, concerns, go to the website. Look at our financials. Like I said, we welcome those. We welcome those questions. Does the ECOA replaces water meters? Again, we don't replace. ECOA does not replace our water meters just willy-nilly, right? So if it's out of service, we're having technical issues with it, then and only then are we replacing them. So I wanted to clear that up because that's a huge expense. And let's face it, that's a huge expense to replace those water meters. But at the same time, like you said, we've got them that have outlasted even their warranty period, but they're not broke. We're not going to fix them. We're not going to replace them until we need to. So I wanted to clear that up.
Our intentions are to get the maximum life out of our investment in the meter.
And then again, the question that'll hopefully save me some phone calls, at least as it relates to, do we have some of the highest rates in the state? Well, that again, when you look at the numbers and you do apples to apples comparison, like I said, it's just quite frankly not true. We have some of the lower rates, and we're extremely competitive with those rates. And again, the senior Lifeline program that helps again our seniors and our low-income individuals. So I feel really good about that. So hopefully that clears up a lot of misconceptions. If you would stand by for the short commercial break, I've got another hot topic of mine I'd like to discuss with you all. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Sean McCorkle with Genesis Land and Title. What makes a great title company? Forbes magazine says that a good title company does two things well. They coordinate the transaction efficiently and they provide remarkable customer service. There are few things worse than poor customer service when you are spending your hard-earned money. Our professional and friendly team will go above and beyond to ensure that your closing experience is as pleasant and stress-free as possible.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
Extreme Fleet Maintenance is a complete hydraulic and diesel servicing company for the Gulf Coast region, specializing in Ford Power Stroke, Dodge Cummins, Chevy Duramax, and all diesel. We work on light and heavy-duty vehicles, forklifts, hydraulics, generators, warehouse, and farm equipment. Our emergency services are 24/7. When you need us, we are there. Call us at 850-972-8087.
Welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So Bruce, before we left, we just kind of highlighted some of the questions as they related to the public council and ECUA's responses to those questions. So now I'd like to get to a little bit of new business. One of the, I guess, subjects near and dear to my heart is efficiency. And being a financial guy myself, I'm all about cutting the fat, reducing redundancy, and just making our organization run more efficient. But that's not just our organization. I think the average citizen or the public would say all government and public organizations could probably do a little bit better job. We could always tighten our belt and find the money. To that end, I always look for partnerships, and we had a couple recent ones. A couple months ago, we partnered up with the county to do a project, a water main project on Cody and Johnson, and where we contributed some of our funds along with the county's funds, and we got it done. Recently, we just had a pretty significant project, the Beach Haven Phase 2 project, which again, another example of ECUA working with our partners at the county to get this project done. And this was a pretty significant project, and this is close to $15 million, where the ECUA contributed close to $6 million of that. But again, we got, it was a win-win, right? So ECUA gets a septic to sewer conversion, so we're getting folks off of septic onto sewer, and of course the county, they're doing a lot of stormwater improvements along with sidewalks and roadways. So it's a win-win. But these projects like this, in some cases, are only possible with cooperation. So that's something I definitely want to. I've spoken to you about it. I've spoken to several other commissioners about it. Is how we can be better partners. And the main thing is communication. How we can communicate with each other and say, hey, before the county gets started on a project, let's coordinate with them. We can coordinate with them as well, vice versa. And together, when those roads are being widened, let's go ahead and run the utilities at that point. We've already got the supplies, we've got the equipment, we got the mobilization. There's savings with that. So again, just wanted to, we literally just voted on this last night. So just wanted to get a quick, response from you.
We're a public entity, and we're as concerned about ratepayer money as county and city are about taxpayer money. We would prefer to operate concurrently in the same roadway corridor when improvements are needed in a given area, so that one isn't working, and just about the time the adjacent property owners and taxpayers see that something is done, nothing frustrates them more than seeing new excavations occur. And I certainly understand that. Problems will happen, lines will break, and things like that. But if you're going to do whole-scale investment in corridor infrastructure replacement, it should be coordinated and be done at the same time.
Absolutely.
And to that end, we share our 5-year schedules with each other and try to look for opportunities when we can do that. And Beach Haven's a good example.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on my show again. And like I said, this is just part of the whole transparency and accountability. So for us to be able to get out there and kind of pull back the mystical curtains of ECUA and let the public in and answer these questions and be available and be open to people, I think is extremely critical. So thank you again for joining me on my show. Thank you for joining me. And I look forward to doing another episode of On the Board with Kevin Stevens. Thank you so much. God bless.